Well, first of all, there's a conflict between what I do. Being a writer and not liking imagination is kind of difficult, but that is the case for me. I don't find myself very interesting. I find the world around me interesting, and people around me I meet very interesting, and I've decided to focus my work on the world around me instead of my personal feelings. Of course, there will be a fingerprint in that, but I just enjoy meeting the world and describing the world, and often describing worlds that you didn't know existed. In a hijacking, especially, it's a story that is impossible to tell without fiction. It's real, but you could never make a documentary about it because you cannot get in that situation with a camera. You will not be allowed to be on the boat with an objective camera describing what happens. So in that way, it's a perfect example of what kind of stories I enjoy telling. We have a principle we call reality rules, and it's basically to remember me or ourselves that we are not smarter than reality, that we need to respect reality. We need to respect that people are living these nightmares that we are filming, and by doing that we need to follow the logic and the rules of reality. It means that hijacking is a combination of maybe 30 different hijackings, but it's all elements from reality we took and put in there. And in that way, hopefully, there is some truth to the story we're telling. I felt that, first of all, we didn't want to see the hijacking because action like that doesn't interest me. It interested me to be with the CEO and be as desperate as he is, like, wow, we need to do something, not knowing what was going on. So basically, that was the idea for the concept, and trying to keep that throughout the film. I mean, it's a film of a long line of phone calls, and basically that's it. We have, or at least in the first script, we have 12 phone calls, and that would structure the story. And what we did was we did these phone calls live. So we would call from the satellite phone on the ship. We would call Denmark, Søren in Denmark, and I would ask him to act over the phone, and we would just tap the line and never do it again. So it was a one-take thing, and in that way it made it feel real, but also suspenseful, because you never know what's going to happen, and you know that the actors, they don't really know what situation each other is in, and I guess you can feel that. I mean, it's kind of when you're cooking. If you just talk about salt, your food's not going to taste like salt. You need to get it in there. And the same thing it is about realism. It's not enough just to talk about research. You need to get reality in there, in the film, to make it feel real, or to make it feel suspenseful. And then I'm of course glad that we find it, that you find the story suspenseful. I believe that the situation itself is so suspenseful, so it's almost dictated alone by the theme of the story. Well, I believe it's a combination of two things. When we need to tell the stories that are more exciting than the life of the audience, or else they just shouldn't waste their life watching it. I mean, if your life is more exciting than a film, then there's no reason to see it. So we need to pick subjects that people don't know too much about or could be interested in, and in that way making it relevant for them to watch. That's an entertainment, you can say. And then at the same time, I find it, we don't know too much about what goes on in the world. And if I have a possibility in my films to tell people what's going on in this field, for example, politics in Denmark, hijacking inside a Danish prison, whatever. We're here, I'm here, you'll live a little longer in France than we do in Denmark, but I'm here for like 79 years, plus minus. That's my life. And I really want to touch and reach out to people in that period. And I do believe I can do that by telling them something they don't know before. And telling them the truth, or one truth about real human beings in situations that you only hear about in the news. in the news everything's numbers. You know, I don't feel anything when they say, yeah, last year we had 1,200 hostages in the Indian Ocean. I'm just like, wow, that's a lot, but it doesn't get to me. But putting myself in the shoes of a hostage throughout a whole film, suddenly I get attached to it and understand the situation and gives more attention to the situation. It's also, maybe it's also the budget. I never thought about that. I don't actually think, no. I think I'm very interested in that. And making the first prison film, after we had finished it, I felt that we were on the right track of telling these kind of stories, and I didn't want to give it up. I didn't feel that we were finished doing it. Sorry. I felt that we was just beginning to scratch the surface of how to tell stories about people caught in small space. So I decided to do another one and try to develop, you can say, and try to develop the language, the film language of these kind of stories. And I believe the next one I'm making together with Pilou and the rest of the crew is going to be in that family, just even bigger and maybe even, you know, ours was very low budget, very small production. Hijacking was a little bigger. We went out and sailed out into the Indian Ocean, and maybe next time we will make it even bigger, trying to expand the storytelling. But I definitely find there's something honest about a man in a room. I mean, you cannot lie too much. There's not too much stuff to disturb. It's just a guy in a room, and whatever he does in that room defines the story, and that is a fascinating thought. You know, in the prison film, we would just be one character. In the Hijacking, we're following two characters, but they are both surrounded by guys, so you would see even much more people than we actually did in the prison film. We would just follow Pilou constantly in that film. So maybe we should, you know, develop in trying to being able to tell the story of the supporting actors as well. Maybe the setups, maybe the time of the films. You know, I just resaw Zero Dark 30, and I'm a big fan of Mrs. Bigelow, and I do believe that the anecdote and the way of telling stories in anecdotes, as she does in Zero Dark 30, really fascinated me. And maybe that is a way to just do, you know, an anecdote from here, and then together it will all tell one big story, but then the combination of them can be changed. But it seems like the sequences of these films makes it possible to make a very big story out of a very small story. There's something about carrying your cross in life that fascinates me. I mean, your faith, suddenly you will find yourself in a situation that you cannot get out of. And that's both the CEO and the sailor. And the choices you make have consequences that will follow you, and no matter what you do, and that of course fascinates me very much. But I do believe that is a basic ingredient in drama, no matter what, is that there should be a character who is beginning a journey that they shouldn't have begun. And most of them will survive, and coming back home, they have realized something, learned something that they can, or at least changed as characters, and in our case as well. I don't believe that Mikkel, the character Pilou is playing, is gonna come home soon, even though he's there with his family. He seems like he's very far away. And I'm pretty sure that Peter will not come back to the company the next day just acting as he did before. It has changed them. That's what stories does to characters, and that's what life does to human beings. Yeah, definitely. I see myself as a screenwriter who once in a while directs. I think it's very hard to direct. I have an ambition to be a good father to my 3 kids, and I cannot be a good director and a good father at the same time, so I need to do it not too often for everybody to survive in it. When I direct, I'm all in that, and I don't care about the life around me. And I don't want to do that too often. And then I really like to write. I like to win battles with my computer in my little office. I like to be God that can control everything. Writing is just me and my computer, and I can sit there for 12, 16, 18 hours just writing. And doing that, totally leave this world. But then when I'm back, I can easily just go out and be fresh and be a good father. Directing, I can't sleep nights, and I spend way too much time dealing with the energy, good or bad, for other people, reading them, trying to understand, and it fills me up, and I get so tired of it. A lot of people is not good for me for a long period of time. So I think I will continue that, and then once in a while direct. I film myself.